Good afternoon, everybody. We'd like to welcome you to the Stone Rudolph and Henry Technology Seminar, Protecting Your Money and Your Business. We have two speakers with us today. We have Stacey Streetman from F&M Bank. She's the Vice President of Business Development. She'll be speaking first for you. And then we will have Charlie Brown, and yes, that is his name, Charlie Brown. And he'll be coming up. He is the manager of our technology department at Stone Rudolph and Henry. He's standing in the back there. Raise your hand, Charlie. And then beside him is some of our other technology team. Dalen Bird, he is our newest staff member with us, and then Derek Johns. And then we have Shane Buse over here. So if you have any questions afterwards, then you're welcome to go talk to one of them, and they'll be glad to help you out with any further questions that you have at the end of the program. I do wanted to let you know that out this door here are the restrooms. So if you need to use those, you're welcome to. Don't forget to get dessert. And then I think the last thing is we are recording this today so that we can put it on our website and then on our YouTube channel. So you'll see a few microphones scattered throughout the room. So when you start to ask a question, just pause for a second and let us hand you a microphone so that we can be sure and get that on our recording also. So without further ado, here's Stacey Streetman. So
thank you so much. I appreciate that. I've got the microphones. Well, first of all, let me say thank you to all of you for coming today. I appreciate this, and also thank you to Stone Rudolph and Henry for having me here to do this. Like she said, my name is Stacey Streetman, and I'm Vice President of Business Development for F&M Bank. And I'm going to talk to you guys today a little bit about protecting your money, especially in regard to your debit cards and online. All right, first of all, kind of got it set up to where it's a do, don't, check. So what we're going to start with is the do. Do be careful of smishing, which is a variation of phishing. What that is where they are texting you and asking you information. Your bank is not going to text you and ask you to give any type of personal information. Now, you may sign up for a service through the bank, such as at F&M Bank. We now can do our fraud alerts via text message, which is where we're going to verify with you whether or not that there's been a fraudulent transaction, but we're never going to ask you for a PIN number, a password, a user ID, any of that type of information. So if you get some sort of text like that, you need to contact your financial institution immediately and contact them using the well-published number that you can find online. Also, create strong passwords that couldn't be easily guessed by anyone. There's a few different tricks you can do to this. For one, you can use something that's like a phrase. Use a phrase that might mean something to you, and then still add your special characters, numbers, things like that. Another thing that you can do is you can take and come up with kind of some sort of variation that's going to be on your keyboard. Something that you're going to be able to remember. You want it to be a very strong password, like I said, that no one else can guess, but you don't want it to be so strong that you can't remember it and it requires you to write it down somewhere. The last thing you ever want to do is write down your password anywhere that someone else can get it. And I will tell you that even though, like at the bank, we have done away with requiring our customers to change. Previously, we required everybody to change every 60 to 90 days. We no longer do that. What we found was if we required you to change it too often, you created less secure passwords. So therefore, we're not requiring you to change it. However, we still recommend that you do change it on a regular basis. And one more tip I will give you in regard to your password for your banking information, whether it's credit card, financial institution, whatever it may be, what you want to do is use a different password with that. Has absolutely nothing to do with all your other passwords where you're logging into stores and everything else. If you're using the same password over and over and over again for everything, all they have to do is figure it out on one and they can figure it out on the rest. And another note is don't use something very simple such as your name or your email in that password. I actually had a friend one time that I was trying to help him with something, and we're logging in, and I'm sitting right there with him, you know, typing in his password, and I'm just going to use, we're going to say the name is John Smith. But I said, okay, what is your password? And he said, J Smith 123. was like, that's an absolutely terrible password. I was like, please change that immediately. Also, log out of your account each time. Now, again, most financial institutions are going to have it set up where you can't actually go back. If you're logged into your online banking, let's say you're on a computer and you try to go back a page, it's not going to let you do it. It's automatically going to kick you out. But you still want to be on the safe side and go ahead, and as soon as you're done doing whatever it is that you're doing in your online banking, hit log out and get out of there. And I would actually also recommend closing your browser. Use the tools provided to you by your financial institution. Most financial institutions have apps that will help you protect your account and your card, such as we have Card Valet. I know that my credit cards have some of these same setups on their apps, but what it is, you can put your card information in there, and you can have it set so that you get alerts every single time your card is used. I have mine set up so that if it's any transaction, I'm getting that alert, which was a good thing because one night I was just sitting around watching some TV, and I get an alert on my phone that tells me that one of my credit cards has been used at fanatics.com for $1. It's not that I don't shop at fanatics.com, but I knew I hadn't shopped there in months, so I couldn't understand why I was getting that alert other than the fact that someone else had done something with my card. I immediately contacted my card issuer, let them know, being a banker, even though on my Fanatics account it showed a $1 charge and a $1 refund. As a banker, I know what that is. That means they've checked the card to see if it worked. Luckily, the purchase hasn't gone through or anything like that yet, but we were immediately able to get that card canceled, and I got a new card sent to me in the mail right away. I did try to let Fanatics know, but I didn't seem to have a lot of luck with them. Make sure they are apps recommended by your financial institution. Don't just get apps that you see out there that's going to work with your online banking unless it has been specifically recommended from your financial institution. You want to do that because you know these are safe apps. Like for ours, we've got both our personal and our business, as well as the Card Valet app. You can get to those links right through our website, and it's going to take you to the applicable store for you to be able to buy those apps. But just be guarded in what apps you're using, because if you're using third-party apps and you're inputting your user ID and your password, you're giving your information to someone else to be able to log in. Take advantage of smartphone and app capabilities such as thumbprint or facial recognition. So this way, you know, it's going to require a thumbprint for anybody to even be able to get into your phone if you have it set up that way. I have my app set up to where that's what I use as my thumb to get in. However, there's a couple of things that you want to think about in this. If you are sharing your phone with anybody, so if you've let anyone else store fingerprints on your phone, that means they will also be able to get into your banking apps. If you have them set up to be able to get in that way, they can do that. And I would have never thought of this with the facial recognition. My phone doesn't have that. But until I was doing the research for this presentation, I actually found it also recommended if you have anyone in your family that resembles you, don't use that as your login, because if you've got a twin sister or like my niece, other than the fact that she's, you know, about a foot taller than me, we look very similar. So there would be a possible chance that that facial recognition would think it was me and let her to be able to get in. Add financial institutions to your favorites so you don't risk typing in the wrong web address. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and add that into your favorites because, for example, using ours, myfmbank.com. What if you typed in something as fmbank.com or something along those lines? I haven't checked that website, but what it could be is you could have a website that's built to look just like ours, hoping that someone mistypes the website address so that they can get that information. It's not us, it just looks like us. So you always want to make sure you've got the right address and make sure you just go ahead and add it to your favorites and you can get in there really easily that way. Also, report unauthorized charges on your account immediately. If after hours, contact the number on your card or your financial institution's website. Soon as you see that, just like what I did with that $1 transaction, I called immediately. Like it said, even with regular, banking hours, go ahead and call. If you look on the back of your card, there's always a number on there. Also, your financial institution most likely has that 1-800 number on their website. But one thing that I would recommend to you in regard to being able to call them it would be a good idea if you have several cards to maybe keep a list of those phone numbers separate from your purse or your wallet and your cards, because if somebody were to steal your wallet or steal your purse and have all your cards, if you didn't have that information written down somewhere, you'd have to go to each of those individual websites and try and locate all that information. If you have that list of numbers somewhere readily available that you can get to quickly, you can work down the line to do that. All right, don't write down your online banking passwords or your PIN. Do not store that anywhere anywhere at all that someone is going to be able to find it. Under your keyboard, in your wallet, in your purse. If you have that information written down somewhere, someone else can find that. And again, if you're using that same password, thinking about if you're using the password for your work systems that you need to get into, and you've got that written down and you're using the same one, just like I recommended not doing, then they still have that information to be able to try and see what they can get into of yours. Don't give your passwords or PIN to anyone, including the bank. And the bank will never contact you and ask for your security information. If you call us, we may ask for some security information, but again, you're calling our published number. But there would be no reason, do not hand your debit card to someone and tell them your PIN number and let them head out to be able to get that. One thing I will say, going back a step, this is just something, now more and more cards are going, even ours, you can create your own PIN number instead of having to use the randomly generated one. But if you didn't want to use one that you use on a regular basis and you wanted to come up with your own random generated, or it does random generate one for you, this is a trick I've given people as a way to store their PIN. Put it in your phone as a fake phone number. Put it under a name that you're going to know what it is. Mine is set up in there under a name that you would never guess. It's just a regular name, but I know what it is. And I have it stored in there as a 931 number, and then the first 3 digits are the regular prefixes that we have around here. So if you looked at it, you would have no idea that was a PIN number. And I have multiple numbers in there where it's got those stored. So for multiple cards, you have multiple numbers. But it's just a great little trick that no one's ever going to know what it is. Me even telling you that I've got it that way in my phone, you have absolutely no idea which of the names to look at in my contact list. Don't use public Wi-Fi to access your bank or your bill accounts. So don't go sit in Starbucks. Absolutely don't sit in the airport. I had some friends of mine a few years ago, they were talking about how they were at the airport, they were waiting for their flight to leave. So while they were waiting, she thought, oh, I'm just going to get on here and take care of some of my banking business. And she logged into various different banking accounts. Get done with doing that, it's time to board the plane. They board the plane, they fly. By the time they've landed, there's already been fraudulent activity on their account. So the last thing you want to use is any type of public Wi-Fi to be able to look up any of your banking information. Don't store your banking passwords on your computers. If you've stored your password on your computer, and like Google Chrome, it gives you that opportunity to store your user ID, to store your password. If you do that, and then I come behind you, and I happen to go to myfmbank.com, it's going to come right up and it's going to go right in there, and then I now have access to be able to view your accounts. Don't store your card information on websites. I know it absolutely makes it much easier to shop. In fact, it might be a better way to save money if it takes longer for you to do the shopping. But if you store your account, your credit cards on there, your debit cards, things like that on there, that means somebody hacks into your Target account or your Walmart account, and all that is stored there, unless it's one of the websites that asks for those 3 digits, and they do not all ask for the 3 digits on the back. But unless it's asking for that, they've got everything they need right there to go ahead and make their purchase right through there. Don't input your card information on a website that isn't secure. You want to look for the green bar. You want to look for the website address to be HTTPS. That S means it's a secure website. There's lots of different things that you can see that's going to let you know that it is certified. But if you go to a website and it kind of gives you that alert that tells you that the SSL certificate is expired on this website, regardless of if you see on their website the little icon that shows it's secure, well, they could have easily put that on there and it not been legitimately secure, but that's telling you right there that their security certificate has expired, and you definitely want to use caution or not at all, be it put your information in there. The reason I say use caution is for a short while when we were in the middle of a transition, ours was coming up that way. It was secure because of all of our other settings, but we did have to notify people or put it on our website to let them know this is a safe place. All right, Check gas pumps and ATMs before inserting your card. So if you go up, let's say you're regularly at this gas station, you go to the same, gas station all the time, these pumps are going to look pretty normal to you, but you notice something looks slightly different where you're putting in the card. Pay attention to that where you're inputting your card. You want to try and shake it. Don't tear down the gas pump, but you want to try and shake it around just a little bit, check it to make sure it's not something that has been placed on top of that, so that when you put your card in there, they're skimming that information off the magnetic strip. What they can then do with that is create a new card with that the information from that magnetic strip in order to be able to use it again elsewhere. Now, granted, we do have chips in cards now, which are, highly decreasing the risk involved with it, but that magnetic strip is still there. There's still information for them to be able to gather from that. And also, when you are typing your PIN in, you see I say guard your PIN at all times. Cover your hand while you're inputting the PIN. So whether it's the ATM, whether it's the gas pump, whether it's pretty much anywhere, you want to go ahead and guard that and kind of put your hand over it, because often if they've put one of those skimmers on there, there's a chance they have also put a small camera so that they can capture your keystrokes as you're typing that in. So you want to do your best to try and cover that information so they don't get both pieces of information to be able to go withdraw the funds from your account. Also, check your account daily. Waiting for your statement to arrive gives thieves extra time to access your account and your funds. If you are not looking at your account for an entire month, there's all kinds of fraudulent activity that could have happened on there. If you are looking at your account every day, with online banking, with apps, and we all live with our smartphones, it's something you can do very, very quickly just to ensure that any transaction you have is one that you've completed. Also, check the address bar on your browser to ensure that you are on a secure site before entering your personal information. Like what I just mentioned a minute ago. Again, just ensure that's an HTTPS on there, not just HTTP. And again, make sure it's whether it's the green bar. All the different browsers have different ways of showcasing it, but you do want to make sure that you are in a secure site. And you want to check your credit report regularly. You're entitled to one free credit report from each of the 3 nationwide credit reporting companies each year. You can access these credit reports from the FTC.gov website. I've got the website address right down there, so it's going to be in your folder where you've got that information. But you're going to want to do this because of the fact that this is the way you ensure that somebody hasn't opened a credit card in your name, that there's not some credit out there that you have not applied for that's showing up on there and showing as unpaid. And again, like I mentioned, you're entitled to one free credit report from each of the 3 each year. So what I would recommend to you, no, everybody doesn't report to all 3, but a lot do. So I would suggest staggering them. Get one now, wait 4 months, pull from one of the others. Wait 4 months, pull from one of the others. That way you're actually checking every 4 months and you're not having to wait for 12 months to go by. The main reason I wanted y'all to know right where to get it from, I know we see all the advertisements online. Free credit report, Karma Credit, all of that kind of stuff. Where, oh, you can get your free credit report. I'm not recommending you do through there. Generally those cost money. That's another company that, again, you're giving access to your information from. Go straight to the one that the government allows you to have. All right, I know I just ran through a lot of information really quick. So what questions do we have? Well, I had lots of questions at the last one. Somebody's got to have some sort of question.
You were talking about not using your, doing a search on your financial accounts on a public Wi-Fi.
Correct.
So do you typically use like a hotspot you create with your iPhone or something like that?
Because that's going to be more protected. I would be careful on that. I'm glad you mentioned that. I told that story last time. I was in New York waiting for my flight, and I needed my iPad that I had with me, that at that time it wasn't one that was connected to data. So I had to use Wi-Fi to be able to get it. I knew better than to use the airport Wi-Fi, so I created a personal hotspot on my phone. I'm sitting there just waiting for the movies to download so I have something to watch on the flight. And all of a sudden I happen to look at my phone and I notice 2 connections, which means somehow someone has gotten onto my personal hotspot. I decided right then and there I absolutely didn't need to watch anything on the flight. I'd be just fine. I shut it all off right away because I had no idea. Still don't. Can't answer that question. but it showed 2 connections, which means somebody else was able to get onto my personal hotspot. And so if you do use a personal hotspot to do anything, I would tell you to pay attention to that. Make sure it continues to say 1 connection, or however many connections it is that you are using, make sure that number matches you. Does that answer your question?
Sure. And a public Wi-Fi could be like a hotel room too.
It really could, because that password is generic to everybody. So they've got it to where they're, that you'll check in and they're like, oh, the password is such and such. So everybody is knowing that. So it's not really a private one in any way. In fact, about the closest you can get would be at your home. And something I would recommend on that, I didn't have it in here, but what I would recommend is change the password that is on your router, because it comes with a password when you get your wireless router. It's right there on the router. Guess what? You know how easy that is to find? Anybody can find that. Then they can pull up close enough to be within range of your wireless router. They can now get onto your system or onto your Wi-Fi. So what I would encourage you to do is, again, change exactly what it is on there. If the instructions didn't come with the router, say you got it from Charter or whatever, that kind of thing, get online, find the instructions, contact your provider, whatever you have to do to get your wireless password changed so that you have something completely different and no one can come up and get on your system. Who else has a question? Oh. No one? All right.
I know if my credit card gets hacked, gets stolen, and I call my credit card company up and I say, hey, I didn't make any of these charges, I know that they will immediately take them off while they do an investigation. And if it's shown that it wasn't me, I wasn't in Tahiti, and I didn't buy all these things, then I'm off the hook. What happens if it's my debit card from my bank? What are the rules to protect me there? Does the bank have to do the same thing, or no?
The bank will cover those transactions.
Okay.
What it is generally you'll see a Visa, MasterCard, that type of thing. So the bank has that same type of relationship with Visa. However, what you're usually going to have to do is come in and fill out an affidavit, how you found the transactions, verify that it wasn't you. And if you think it was anybody or somebody that you know, like if it happens locally, you do have to go get a police report. And if you think it's somebody you know, the way for you to get your money back is you will have to press charges against that person. If you're not willing to press charges, we're not going to give the money back. But now if they've done something and taken them a nice trip to Tahiti, you don't know who that is. That's someone over there, or somebody was shopping in Walmart in California at the same time you were shopping at Walmart in here. Very obvious. But what it is we take down all that information, we put the money back in your account, and then we work with Visa to get back whatever we can get back from them.
And
Visa doesn't give everything back to us, so we do take a good hit when it comes to the fraud on cards.
Now, in the meantime, they drained my entire account, and so my mortgage came due, my car payment was due, all these other things that are auto-drafted happen, and so I get the overdraft fees. Do I get those back? Or
Your bank is going to work with you. I
Okay.
cannot, that would be up to the bank. Me,
Okay.
as a banker, yes, because I see all this is going on, and I'm probably going to get your funds back into your account within a day or so anyway. But I'm going to be fully aware of what's going on with your account, so I'm going to know, do we need to go ahead and pay this? I'm actually going to verify with you what it is to make sure it comes through, especially if it's fraud on your specific account, not just your card. But you mentioning that, I use my debit card a lot. I use my credit cards too, but one great way to protect yourself against losing that cash flow for a short amount of time would be to try and do as many things as possible online using a credit card versus a debit card. Because even you still have that lag. I can't say what other banks would do. I can't even say what other bankers would do, but I know all my coworkers and I know how they would handle that.
But are there any rules that force a bank to take? I mean, is it possible if some other bank, they just go, that's really, I'm sorry that happened to you, and leave it at that?
I think you would have to look at each, your financial institution directly.
Yeah.
You're going to get a disclosure when you ordered your card, a disclosure, and I apologize because every bank could be different. So I don't know that there would be any specific rules regarding that. It would be each of their individual policies, but I would look at that disclosure that comes with your card so that you know exactly what it is that you have coming, what your potential for fraud could be.
Okay.
Anybody else? Or oh, I should have grabbed that for you. I'm sorry.
I have a daughter getting ready to go to college.
Congratulations.
Yeah. She's got a debit card. You're speaking on some of the things I've read about debit cards, and it is good to know that the bank will work with you, but it's not as quick to get the funds back, it seems, and you got to go through a lot of more reports.
You do.
What would be best for us to get her a credit card for purchases? And I don't know if this is your area of expertise.
If you were asking me individually, yes, I would say that I would recommend getting her a credit card. I hate saying that for an 18-year-old, but with good monitoring and handling it correctly, that wouldn't be a problem. But I would think about that because of the fact if there's ever an emergency situation, generally, those are all going to be 24 hours. I've had it before where my card got shut down and I was in New York. I was buying some Snapchat spectacles, and it's at a pop-up store out of a vending machine. It sent up all kinds of red flags, and my card got shut down at 6 o'clock at night. And I was like, well, I guess it'll be tomorrow before I can use this again. But in that instance, had I used a credit card instead of using my debit card, I wouldn't have killed my debit card for one, so I would have still had access to it. And also, I could have made a call and actually gotten to a call center and talked to somebody. I'm definitely not speaking against local banks and community banking, but there's just not always, for us, we're not a 24-hour access. So I would definitely consider the credit card because there could be emergency situations that come up to where, and generally there are limits, point of sale limits on your debit cards. Like ours is $1,000. So if she had an emergency situation where she needed to buy something right away, then she tried to make that purchase. And again, let's look outside of banking hours. Let's look at a Saturday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and maybe she has to buy tires or fix something on her vehicle to get it running again. That card's not going to work for more than $1,000, and she's not going to have anybody to call to get that raised, unless it might be a national bank. You're welcome.
Stacey, do you mind if I respond to the gentleman? My son is in college, and we have our accounts with F&M, and he used his debit card, and just driving from Clarksville to Penn State, he got hacked. So what we ended up doing, I cut his limit down, because $1,000 if he has a major expense from the vet to the car, we cut it down to $300, which is easy, but they recovered it in no time. It happened during the week, and I got him a credit card, but I go to the bank account and I pay it off, but take it out of his normal account to pay me back. But that was the greatest thing. And he ended up buying a snowboard not too long ago. Well, that would have been over his limit, but he had the money, but he used the credit card and then reimbursed. And he established credit because it's in his name, but under my umbrella. So.
And another instance of someone I know, they had their son was coming back home. And I think he broke down. He had to find a hotel. Well, guess what? He tried to go pay for the hotel. It was completely out of his normal activity. The bank said no, and he's calling mom, going, "No, what do I do?" Mom had to get in the car and drive to him. So, any other questions that I can answer before I turn it over to Mr. Charlie? Well, again, thank y'all very much for having me here. My card is located right up there, and also, as you see, I've got my contact information right here. So if you think of anything later or there's something you want to discuss in more detail, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm glad to answer any question I can, and if I don't know the answer, I'll get the answer for you. So again, thank y'all very much, and y'all have a great day.
While they're switching out their microphones, just let you know she's going to be slipping out here in just a few minutes. She has a busy day. She's on the ballot today.
Not today. I'm on the ballot today. I'm on the ballot.
But anyway, she's got a lot of work to do outside of here. So she'll be slipping out, but we're glad to have her. And like she said, we'll have the opportunity to reach her. Also wanted to take the opportunity.
Can you hear me?
You do have a copy of each of the presentations there.
There's a clip right there.
And then once Charlie is finished, then there is a purple sheet in the thunder here. If you don't mind filling that out and letting us know if you can do anything to change our seminar format. And if you have any questions for our technology team or need to reach out to them for information, put that on there also for Stacey.
How's everybody doing today? Can everybody hear me? Well, good deal. We're not going to take up too much of time. First of all, as everybody know by now, my name is Charlie Brown, truly and honestly. IRS send me a bill every year in that name. I've been with Stone Rudolph and Henry now for about 18 years, after retiring for 20 years in the military. So I've been around for a little bit. And we're going to try to get through this as painless as possible. I know everybody has heard about cybersecurity and cyber attacks. We're just going to give you a little information this afternoon to kind of help you out. So first of all, something that everybody needs to know. Everybody asks the question, am I at risk? The answer is yes. Everybody in this room is at risk. First, what is cyber attack? Cyber attack is a type of offensive maneuver employed by individuals or a whole organization to target computer information systems, infrastructures, computer networks, and or personal computer devices by various means malicious acts, usually originating from an anonymous source that either steals, alters, destroys a specified target by hacking into a susceptible system. This can be labeled as either a cyber campaign, cyber warfare, or a cyber terrorist. In different contexts, cyber attacks can range from installing spyware on a PC to attempt to destroy infrastructure of an entire nation. Kind of scary thing there. There are three main categories of cyber threats: active, passive, and social. Under these main categories, you got direct attacks, hardware, dumpster diving, one of my favorites. Your passive attacks include virus, Trojan, spam, malware. Everybody's heard about most of these. Of course, your social, which is your phishing attack, spear phishing, whaling, shoulder surfing, social engineering. We're going to look at some of these real quick with a little few definitions. Direct hack, hardware, dumpster diving. Like I said, one of my favorites. How many people got shredders at home? How many people at home use them after they get full? There you go. You use it for the first couple of days, it fills up. Well, I'll take it out after a while. In the meantime, you go over there, you get these cards in the mail. Everybody get these little advertisements in the mail where you get these little cards with your information on it. What you do, you take that thing and throw it off in the garbage can. And there's some of the information. Businesses. We provide a shredding service. I think we do at least once a year. Come by and see us. Put that stuff in a container, bring it by, and let us shred it for you. You don't want to throw that information out there because, believe it or not, somebody, if they want it, will find it. The old copiers back in the day, there was an incident way back when where the habit was companies get these copy machines that was great. You use them, and when they're done, you just replace them, turn them back into the company. Company will make some more money on them. What do? They sold them off. And after they sold them off, the next thing you know, then there was an instance where the information that had been scanned on those copy machines turned up in some foreign company because those copy machines had hard drives in them. And unknowing to the unknowing person, somebody should have knew, that information ended up in the hands of people that really did not supposed to have it. Every time you make a scan on those copy machines, it's recorded. So they sold those copy machines, and there's all that information out there. So you have to be careful. I think the practice now is they tell us that the copy machines that it's encrypted or they delete it after a certain period of time. Main thing is remember, equipment, hardware, computers, laptops. Once they break, just don't dispose of them unless you get somebody to clean those devices for you. Had a call from a lawyer one day, a couple of weeks ago. Had a client working on a lawsuit. Well, can you get these emails back from me? Can you get them off of this other company's email server? Well, not really. They don't delete your account. But do you have that computer that you were using when you was working there? Well, I had it, but I just threw the whole thing in the dumpster. All of his information. Did he think about it? Nah. Can the information be retrieved? Yes. Unless the hard drives are properly destroyed, then that information can be retrieved off of that equipment. Whenever you get this junk mail that you throw away all the time, instead of just throwing it in the garbage can, my wife, she sits there and just rips it up. Get your shredder, or get you some duct tape or some 550 cord, roll it all in a big roll, make your fire log out of it, and make your fire in the middle of the yard. I just can't know that. Trespassing. People just walk off in your building, hanging out. Be aware who's walking around your business. Social attacks. Phishing. Everybody knows about the phishing thing. You get this email from would-be executive asking you, hey, look, I need you to do an ACH deposit to Johnny Wayne in Mississippi. The email looks just like his email. Got his signature block on it. But there is one missing character in the email address. Or the email address is not exactly the same. But instead of asking questions, you do the ACH deposit. You have to watch it. One of my clients in Nashville, Charlie, this looks like so-and-so email. Why am I getting that? I said, it's not his email. But she caught it. And of course, I praised her for catching it. The new scam out. And I didn't know about it until one of my clients' employees sent me an email. He said, look, this is not me. I'm sure everybody heard about it by now. But they send you an email and says, here's your password. If you don't send us this money, we're going to send this information to everybody in your contact list that you have been searching adult sites. This is one that came out about a month ago. You heard about it? Yeah. Whether or not that person, and the first thing that he said, well, I didn't do that. You have to be aware. In cases like that, contact your IT person. Hey, is this real? They'll find something, some kind of means, a way to identify whether or not it's a real email or not. People that work in businesses, you get emails to say, hey, look, accounting, we've had it happen in our office alone. I want you to do this, send this money or do this for me. If you have questions about the validity of an email, and if there's a phone number attached, and you know that person, take the time, pick up the phone, and make a call. That 5 minutes that you lose can save you a lot of time and a lot of money on the back end.
back up and the house is for sale, so I called him back. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I'm trying to have a street roof. He's like, yeah, but I have to pay the credit card. And long story short, he was trying to get me to. He was trying to get me to. He was trying to get me to use my PayPal and then accept payment via credit card and pull out like $2,600 on a $1,300 job and then deposit the rest of that money somewhere else. This happened a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, I didn't do it because I'm not a retard. I figured out pretty quickly that it was probably a scam. I talked to the guy. He definitely sounded foreign, probably some African country with his dialect. But is there a way to report that? Like, where would I take that information to?
You can always call your local authorities, TBI, and report that type activity to them.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure he was trying to get me to pull money out of a stolen credit card.
He wanted to get your account information so that he could continue his activities.
Yeah. Okay. Cool deal.
You said, you said if there's something suspicious, contact your IT person. Well, in our instance, as you know, as a realtor and whatever, we normally are our own IT people, and a lot of time I don't know what's going on. You know, so how could I help myself if I don't have an IT person to report to or that I can contact? What do I do? Where do I go?
In that situation, the first thing you got to ask your question: Do I think is legit? And the first thing that should come in your mind: have doubt all the time. The first thing that comes to your mind is no, it's not legit. So just don't do it.
Okay.
Unless, like I said, if there's a phone number at the
Right.
bottom of
Okay.
it, or for somebody that you know, you can call, pick up the phone and call and ask the question.
So use common sense.
Always have doubt.
Always have that.
Always have doubt. Unless I pick up the phone and say, hey man, I'm fixing to send you this information. You're going to get this email. You know me. We've been dealing with it forever. You get the information. You get it? Yeah, I got it. All right, go ahead and do your thing. Unless you absolutely know. If you get an email from your brother, say, look, send me some money to this address. Deposit some money here. The first thing you should do, pick up the phone and call your brother. Always have doubt. Always have doubt. Because they will get you and not feel sorry about it. Guaranteed. Shoulder surfing. We was talking about being in the airport. If you're doing your bank stuff, make sure that, I got a bad back, so I hunch over anyway. Cover your stuff up. Be aware of your surroundings. People are not honest anymore. They don't care. Passive attacks. Virus, Trojan, spam, malware, adware, and y'all favorite, ransomware. Everybody know about the viruses. They get on your system and just make your computer do all kind of crazy stuff. What do? Call me. Spam, malware, adware, that annoying stuff, and of course ransomware. The best defense against ransomware is backups. The best defense from ransomware is backups. Offline backups. If you have important information on your computer that you consider to be important, whether it's personal or in a business, if you're not doing some kind of backups, then it's not that important. You say that you want your information, you have to protect yourself. If you get hit with ransomware, you own a business, and they encrypt all of your information, then you have two choices. If you really want that information, pay the ransom or restore backup. Two choices. So who's at risk? We already said who? Everybody. Now, most of the problems with small businesses or even individuals, we're just a small business. We're not a multi-million-dollar company. We don't have any information that an attacker would want. So why should we be concerned? Small businesses are at a large and a very big risk. According to the Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report, 61% of breaches occurred in small businesses last year, which is an increase of 53% from the year before. According to the UPS Capital, breaches cost small business between $48,000 and $148,000. 60% of all small businesses go out of business within 6 months of a breach. Why do you think that's so? Tarnished name. Anything else? Exactly. Reputation and cost is what kills them. According to the Verizon database, did I hit that one? I did. 60 to 80% of attacks target small business. Why? Why does small business and an individual and not big corporations? There you go. Small businesses, a lot of the small businesses' biggest issue, well, just like we said before, I ain't got nothing nobody wants. Firewalls. Well, I'm not going to pay $500 for a firewall. I just ain't going to do it. I ain't got nothing nobody want. I'm going to go down here to Walmart, get me a $25 firewall, put it in, and put all of my client information behind it. I'm not saying that. We'll talk about that later. For the small business, there are things that you can do that are economically feasible. You just have to do it right. A cheap firewall is not the way to go. The security is not there. There's a thing that came out, a couple of months ago about somebody doing something to firewalls, getting into them. Yeah. Moving on. Inside scoop. Fun fact. From the Reach the Forest study about internal threats, about 1/3 of all security breaches stem from lost or stolen devices that took too long to detect. You got people that take work home, thumb drives, paperwork, take it home, put it on the counter, working on it, have a party that weekend, got people coming in, thumb drive come up missing. Oh, well, one of the kids moved it somewhere. And next thing you know, well, the kids ain't got it, got all the client information on it. 2 weeks later, darn, somebody must have picked that thing up. Takes too long to realize that the information has actually been missing. Laptops. Business provides you laptops. You got all of the client information on it. Take it home. You leave it in your car. Darn, I must have left that thing at the office. Joe got that thing. 2 weeks later. Well, Joe said he ain't got it. It ain't at home. It ain't over here. So I guess I better go report it. You got to be vigilant. After another 27% of breaches are caused by inadvertent misuse of data by employees, which is often never discovered until well after the fact. People taking client information home, doing work, stuff disappears, parties, people going in and watching and looking. Hey, yeah, I know that guy. That's his bank account number right there. That's his social security number. I can use that.
That misuse could also be just emailing things to people that shouldn't be emailed.
Exactly.
Like account numbers, social security numbers, things of that nature.
Whenever you email information, I think that the standard policy is that you have to have permission from that individual to email them sensitive information. Because if it's compromised and you don't have their permission, then you're on the hook. I want to say, I think Tennessee, and don't quote me on this, I think Tennessee is one of the only states that don't require you to send encrypted emails in businesses. Don't quote me on that, but I think I heard that someplace. A lot of the other states require that if you want to send sensitive email information through email, then it has to be encrypted. Another additional 12% of breaches are caused by inside of most malicious insiders, most of whom were never suspected of being that type. Are you aware of everybody that walks into your business? You know them very well, that walks around and hangs out in your lobbies or behind your clerk's desk. Oh, well, he all right. He's not going to do anything suspicious. Do you really know that? You have to be aware. Client information should only be visible or present in the presence of the people or personnel that have a need to have access to that information. Just because you work, if you're the janitor at a business, you don't have any need at all hanging out in the accounting office looking at client information. None. None at all. My biggest pet peeve is you walk into a business, everybody on the left, and you got the monitors, all of the client information still up on the monitors. Why? Because it's easier. When I come in the morning, I ain't got to log in. Janitor come in there it is. All of the client information right there. All they got to do is hit the down arrow key and the print button and go for it. That's all they got to do. If you're at home, you got client information that you take home because you want to work from home, you have to be vigilant. You are responsible for that information. Well, I take that back. The business owner is responsible. If you're taking work home 9 times out of 10, it's not your business. You're working for somebody. You're trying to catch up. Not really. I know Steve, they take work home all the time. Well, they work remotely. The main thing is if you got client information, then you don't want that information hanging around and visible to people that really don't need access to it. You really don't. What are they looking for? When you're getting hacked and people trying to surf, you're trying to get to information on your computers. What happened? Am I going forward or backwards? I know everybody heard this term, PII. What is PII? Personal identifiable information, which is defined in the Tennessee codes as, it means an individual first name, last initial, first name or first initial, and last name in a combination with any of the following: Social Security number, driver's license, account, credit card, or debit card number in combination with any required security codes, access codes, or passwords that will permit access to an individual's financial account. So if you got pieces of paper laying around and it has a person's first name, first initial, last name, and their social security number, it's considered to be personal identifiable information. Last name, social security number, by this definition, you code. Or just the first name, you code. But if you got that first initial, last name, and a social security number, then you got personal identifiable information in your possession, and it should be safeguarded accordingly. But this information does not include information that is lawfully made available to the general public from the federal, state, or local government records or information that has been redacted or otherwise made unusable. So, what is considered to be an unauthorized person includes an employee includes the employee of information holder who is discovered by the information holder to have obtained personal information with the intent to use it for an unlawful purpose. Unlawful person is if you have a employee that gets a client information and intends to use it for any other reason than to help that client or in that business, then he is not supposed to have it.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah.
We're about to run out of time here, and so I know you may have a few more comments you want to make and then see if there are any questions. But I know you were getting at the point with the Tennessee code there that if you have a business and you discover a breach of information, any of those things that you listed, there's certain time frames now
That's
under
coming up
Tennessee
next.
law. You got that coming up that you have to respond to all that. But
if information is discovered to be missing, you have 45 days to do a proper notification to the individuals and or the appropriate law agencies that the information has been compromised. 45 days. The only exception to that 45 days is if the law agencies determine that notification will hinder their investigation, then they can extend that notification time. But it has to come from an investigating authority to extend that time. But other than that, you have 45 days to notify the individuals, law agencies, and all the other necessary personnel. Precautionary steps. Everybody know, we're gonna wrap this up real quick. Everybody knows the thing about you need to change your passwords. Make your passwords at least 8 characters, uppercase, special character. Don't open suspicious emails for requests for money. We discovered that. Whatever you do. Had a client tell me, said, well, we had an issue. Tell me, they said, when she get emails that got links in it, I'll click on it. She just does it, no matter what. Destroy sensitive documents. That information, like I said, make your donut roll, throw it in the yard, light a fire. If you don't have a shredder. Use VPNs for secure internet connections. We didn't get into that, but basically VPNs are tunnels, and some businesses provide them. You can connect through Wi-Fi, and it's a secure gateway. Don't use public Wi-Fis. Keep your antivirus software up to date, and educate your employees. If you're a business owner, then you can have somebody come in and do these type seminars about security. You have to educate your people, because if they don't know, then they can't help you. They really can't. Backups and test them. It really doesn't do any good to do backups if you don't know they work. All right, any questions?
I have one. Old
Okay.
computers, it's actually 2 questions. And if I have an old computer, if I take the hard drive out, I'm good.
Take the hard drive out, take it on the sidewalk, take a slam handle and slam it.
That was my next question. Thank you.
So when I was in the military, and the OPEC or OPM was breached by the Chinese hackers like 3 years ago or so, I got a letter in the mail saying that my information was breached. And then they were supposed to, cover it and then monitor it and watch my stuff for like 3 years. But is since expired or is about to expire. I can't remember the exact date. What do I do now?
Say again.
My information was breached when I was in the military, and now they're not responsible anymore for monitoring it. The time frame for them that they said that they would monitor it is
Did they monitor
expired.
it for 3 years?
They said they did, or said they were going to in the letter that they sent me. But so what do I do now about that?
If you have questions about it, you can contact like your local authorities, talk to them about it. Somebody in the law agency, they can help you out more than I can on that one.
Okay, well, I was just wondering if you would recommend like a service kind of like LifeLock or anything like that. You've seen the commercials for them, and
Well, you can do that, yeah.
okay.
I have LifeLock. I've used it. I like it. I recently got a new truck, and I was sitting there applying for my loan and came right up. Are you applying for a car loan? Yes.
Sweet. Huh?
Yeah, so I like it. The other thing is make credit computer.
I'm always up, like, yeah, ever since I got that letter in the mail from OPEC, I monitor my stuff religiously, but, there's some stuff that you just might not catch. That's why I was wondering about that.
Yeah, like Stacey said, keep an eye on your bank accounts. Keep an eye on them. It don't take but a minute every now and then just to log in and make sure you don't have any kind of activity that you don't know about. All right, are those all the questions? We had a few more things for business owners, but we're running short. So, but the main thing is if you're a business owner is to remember, you need to keep an eye on your employees, educate your employees, because like I said, if they don't know, they can't help you protect your client's information.
Hey, Charlie, before you cut it off, be sure and tell them about, you all have a service where you can do some 24/7 monitoring of their networks and computers. Why don't you go ahead and mention that?
Well, what Steve was saying, I didn't want to get into my sales pitch. We offer monitoring services for computer systems and for networks. We can scan your computers to identify any PII information on your computers. What I mean that is a lot of employees, what happens is you have, you've got these applications that a lot of people use that are online, and your employees, they make these notes and make files and stuff on the computers with customer information on it and leave it on there. You don't know it's there. We can scan those computer systems, your servers, and give you a report of all the information on those computers. Social Security numbers, credit card numbers, the whole 9 yards. We can do this as often as you want and give you reports whenever you want them. Your computer networks, we scan your outside networks and ensure that you don't have vulnerabilities in your firewalls. We offer a 24-hour maintenance service for your computer systems and your networks. We basically can take care of all of it for you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to talk to us about it, and we can help you out.
Also inside your folders, there's a Charlie's card is inside there, and the black pens that we've given you on your table also has the number that you can reach our technology department through. So is there anything else? Any other questions for Charlie? Are we good? Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.